The Fall of Turmus. The city of Turmus, perched on the banks of the mighty Vosk River, had stood for over 1,000 years. Its towering walls, bustling markets, and the grandeur of the Ubar's palace had once been the envy of all who laid eyes upon it. A city of strength, history, and culture, Turmus had survived countless trials in its long existence, yet it would soon face a disaster that threatened to erase its legacy forever. Chapter 1: The Destruction. It began in the dead of night when the wind carried a strange foreboding chill through the city. The once strong walls, which had withstood the test of time, were suddenly beginning to groan, as if protesting the strain placed upon them over centuries. The people of Turmus had long been proud of their city's resilience, but even they could not have predicted the calamity that would befall them. By morning, the destruction had already begun. The Vosk River, a long symbol of life and prosperity for the city, began to rise unnaturally. The riverbank, swollen from days of hidden rainfall upstream, surged with a ferocity that was both unnatural and terrifying. The city's foundations, already weakened by years of hidden tensions and struggles for power, were no match for the power of the river's relentless current. The city's walls, once impenetrable, began to crack under the strain of the flooding. The grand market district, teeming with merchants from all corners of the known world, was soon swallowed by the rising waters. Buildings that had stood for centuries crumbled, their stone facades falling into the swollen rivers below. The Ubar's palace, a once proud symbol of his authority, was ravaged by the floods. Its towering spires, which had reached towards the heavens, collapsed under the weight of the disaster. But the damage was not solely the work of nature. There were whispers among people that forces within the city had worked to undermine its defenses, taking advantage of its weakened state to strike when Turmus was most vulnerable. Some spoke of betrayals, hidden agendas, and whispered promises to outsiders who sought to tear down the city's might. The central well, a source of life for Turmus, was not spared. The flooding had caused it to become contaminated, and the citizens found that their water supply tainted, further intensifying the panic. But amidst this chaos, the destruction was not just physical. It was a deep wound to the spirit of the city itself. Chapter 2: The Ubar Struggle and Decision. In the midst of the chaos, the Ubar Bakhtu stood in his shattered throne room, watching as the city crumbled. His once proud palace was little more than rubble. The flood waters of the Vosk River lapped at his feet. The destruction of a city was not just a physical loss, it was the loss of his authority, of his people's trust, and of the very foundations upon which the city had been built. Yet amidst the devastation, Bakhtu did not falter. The city's troubles were many, and the divisions among his advisors were no secret. Bakhtu had always been a ruler of ambition and determination, but even he had been tested in ways he could not have predicted. His advisors, once loyal, now were divided, each offering their own counsel on how to move forward. Some urged swift actions, others called for caution, and a few questioned his leadership together. The cracks of their unity had become too evident to ignore. Despite these tensions, Bakhtu had made the decision that would change the course of the city's fate. He declared that Turmus would be rebuilt no matter the cost. The task would not be easy, but he was determined to see it through. But first, he knew the city's spirit needed to be restored. The rifts between his advisors had to be healed, and the people needed something to believe in once again. Here, Celia, the Ubara, stood beside him, a calming influence amidst the storm of destruction. Her wisdom, kindness, and unwavering support of Bakhtu became a steady force in the turmoil. Though the Ubara had long been a figure of strength in her own right, she also helped to restore the faith of the citizens, speaking to the people in ways that soothed their fears and reminded them of Turmus's legacy. In private, Celia worked tirelessly alongside Bakhtu to ensure that the people's needs were met, organizing efforts to rescue their homestone, assist the displaced citizens, and offer support to the soldiers and laborers working to rebuild. Her actions in the shadows of the disaster became as vital as Bakhtu's decision. Her compassion and steadfastness gave the citizens of Turmus something to hold on to, something to rally behind. Amidst the turmoil stood Brandon, the first boy owned by Bakhtu and Celia. Brandon had grown under the care of the Ubar and Ubara, becoming not just a symbol of their rule, but a living testament to the enduring strength of their bond. He had been taught to serve with honor, to embody the very principle of Turmus's noble lineage. Brandon's loyalty was unshakable, and amidst the crisis, he proved himself invaluable alongside his masters. He worked to assist with the city's recovery, offering comfort to the citizens and helping to organize relief efforts. His presence at the Ubar side was a beacon and a reminder that even in the darkest of times, Turmus's spirit lived on. Chapter 3. The discovery of the homestone. As the rebuild of Turmus pressed on, there remained one question that loomed over the hearts of the people. Was the homestone lost? For days, warriors and scribes and citizens alike scoured the ruins of the once great palace. It was Augustus and Alan leading a team of determined men who finally unearthed it beneath the wreckage of the palace in a chamber deep below the ruins. They found it submerged in murky, muddy water, its sacred surface obscured, but unbroken. The discovery sent waves of emotion through the gathered crowd of warriors and citizens alike dropped to their knees in reverence, some whispering prayers, others shedding tears of relief. The warriors carefully lifted the homestone from its watery grave, their movement slow and deliberate, as if it was the very weight of Turmus's spirit resting in their hands. With a great ceremony, the homestone was carried through the half-rebuilt streets of the city, its presence renewing the spirit of all who saw it. Though the palace remained unfinished, the stone was placed temporarily in the heart of the city's square, where it could be seen and drawn strength from. The Ubar and Ubara stood before their people, watching as the water and mud were gently wiped away, revealing the stone's true form once more. Bakhtu raised his voice so that all could hear him. The homestone is not lost, it has endured, as we have endured, and as we cleanse it, so too we cleanse our city of despair. Turmus does not fall, it rises. A great war erupted from the people, their faith in the city renewed. The homestone remained at the heart of the city as the final stages of rebuilding took place, a silent guardian overseeing its rebirth. When the palace was finally completed, it was carried with honor to its rightful place, enshrined as the heart of Turmus's strength and unity. Chapter 4. The Warriors, Hall, and the Armor of Hope. But not all parts of Turmus were spared. The Warrior Hall, the very heart of the city's military strength and pride, was almost completely destroyed in the flooding. The once vibrant hall where warriors gathered to train and share tales of valor was now reduced to ruins. The banners that had once hung proudly in the hall now lay in tatters, and the sounds of the swords clashing in practice had been replaced by the eerie silence of a fallen citadel. Yet amidst the destruction, one piece of the city's warrior spirit remained. A single set of armor, once worn by the greatest of Turmus's warriors, was discovered deep within the rubble. It was battered, worn, and covered in the dust of the fallen city, but it was intact. The armor, a symbol of courage and strength of Turmus's people, became a beacon of hope to the warriors who had once called the city home. The commander of the warriors, Augustus, had led his soldiers through countless battles, but now standing among the ruins of his city, he felt a sense of loss, despair, than anything he had ever faced before. Yet when he laid his eyes upon the armor, something within him stirred. His companion Ella, a fierce and loyal woman who had fought beside him in many campaigns, stood at his side, offering silent support. She too had seen the destruction, and like Augustus, she knew their city's future rested not in the past, but in what they would build from the moment forward. Augustus and Ella, having survived the chaos together, understood that they could not let the warriors of Turmus fall into despair. The armor, though worn, was a reminder of the strength and honor of Turmus's warriors. It would become a rallying point. The warriors gathered around it, touching it with reverence and drawing strength from its presence. It reminded them, despite the destruction, their spirit had not been broken. Meanwhile, Captain Allen, another Turmus legendary leader, found solace in the ruins of the warrior hall. His slave Bella had been with him through every campaign, every victory, every defeat. She was not just a slave, but his confidant, his anchor in the storm. Together they began to organize the city's defenses, working alongside Augustus and Ella to ensure that the warriors and soldiers who remained would fight not just for survival, but for the honor of their city. Ellen and Bella worked tirelessly, helping rebuild warrior barracks and training grounds, their bond growing stronger as they worked through Allen. Though Allen's rank gave him authority, it was his heart and an understanding of the warriors' needs that earned them his trust. Bella too found her place as more than just a servant. Her bravery and wisdom had proven invaluable in the rebuilding effort. Chapter 5. The Library and Scribe Hall. Despite the widespread devastation, there were areas of Turmus that had been spared by the floodwaters. The Scribes' Hall, where the city's records were kept, had not been touched by the chaos. Lady Firefly, the renowned scribe, worked alongside the scribe Harrington and scribe Melody preserve what remained of the city's knowledge. These records would be crucial in rebuilding Turmus, serving as a guide for the future generations to learn from mistakes and triumphs of their ancestors. As the city began to recover, Nicholas, the head slaver of Turmus, oversaw the care and training of the slaves who had survived the flood. His role was essential, as many of the city's workers were slaves who played a crucial part in the rebuilding process. He was not an easy man to work with, but his loyalty to Baku and Celia was unwavering. Naya, the beekeeper, was another key figure who emerged in this period of recovery. With her knowledge of bees, she helped restore the city's agriculture and ensure that the people of Turmus would have enough food for the coming years. Chapter 6. The rebuilding begins. As the days turned to weeks, Turmus began to slowly emerge from the rubble. The once bustling streets that had been submerged in water and debris that were cleared, the merchants returned to their stalls, and the market became alive once again. The Ubar's palace, though a shadow of its former glory, was slowly rebuilt stone by stone. The foundations of the new walls were laid, stronger and more fortified than before. The city's architecture began to take shape once more, with a grander vision than ever before. The streets that had once been narrow and winding now expanded, offering more space to the growing population. The new structures were designed with both beauty and functionality in mind, blending the old Turmus with the new. As the work progressed, the people of Turmus rallied behind Bakhtu and Celia. Nicholas, the head slaver, ensured that those who had been enslaved in the past had their roles to play in the rebuilding. Despite his harsh reputation, Nicholas was now a key figure in the city's recovery, working tirelessly to ensure that no one was left behind. In the final stages of reconstruction, the city was transformed beyond recognition. The once great capital, ravaged by nature's fury, had been reborn in grand fashion. The citizens whose lives had been turned upside down by the flood now saw that their city was restored, stronger, prouder, and more resilient than ever. Chapter 7. The Festival of Rebirth. With the city fully rebuilt, a grand festival was held to celebrate the rebirth of Turmus and honor the memory of the old city that had been lost. The festival was a reflection of both sorrow and hope, a tribute to the past, a celebration of the future. The people of Turmus gathered in the newly constructed central square, where a massive bonfire blazed brightly, symbolizing the city's renewed strength. The streets were lined with lanterns and music filled the air. Dancers performed in the streets, their movements a tribute to the city's resilience and the spirit that could not be broken. The festival was not just a celebration of the city's physical restoration, but of its renewed spirit, its unbreakable will to survive. Bakhtu, standing at the heart of the celebration, gazed upon the gathered citizens, his heart swelled with pride. He saw the city that had once been shattered now brimming with life, energy, and hope. He stepped forward, and the people fell silent and their eyes fixed upon their Ubar. People of Turmus, Bakhtu's voice rang out across the square. Today we stand as a testament of power of the human spirit. We have risen from ashes of our past, stronger, wiser, united. Let us not forget the lessons learned. Let us honor the memory of the old city that made this rebirth possible. This is our future, and together we will rebuild it with pride. The crowd erupted with cheers, their voices ringing in unison. The Festival of Rebirth was a success. It marked the beginning of a new era for Turmus. The city had been reborn from the rubble, and its people, led by Bakhtu and Celia, and the key figures of Turmus, now looked forward to the future with renewed hope. No flood, no enemy, no disaster would ever be able to break the spirit of Turmus. The city had been rebuilt, and it was now stronger than ever before.